I never thought I'd be sitting in a courtroom staring down the legal team of a U.S. senator, all because of a parking dispute. But that's exactly what happened. And the woman who thought she could destroy me with money and power ended up watching her Lamborghini get shredded like paper and her empire crumble right after it. My name's Elias Carter. I've lived my whole life in Maple Creek Estates. It's one of those neighborhoods with a homeowners association, strict rules, power-hungry board members, the whole deal. I never cared much for their politics. I just wanted to tend my land, raise my crops, and be left alone. But then came Veronica Jennings, the HOA president. Picture every stereotype of entitlement wrapped into one person. Perfect, blonde, bob, designer clothes, giant sunglasses, and a voice sharp enough to split wood. She strutted around like she owned the whole neighborhood, flashing the fact that her husband was Senator Mark Jennings. And with that power, she thought she could step on whoever she wanted. It all started on a cool autumn morning, the kind of day that makes a farmer's heart beat fast, the kind of day you live for after months of backbreaking work. The harvest was ready, the weather perfect, but a storm was on the horizon. I had a small window, and everything depended on getting my equipment out onto the fields. That's when I saw it, a flash of orange blocking the private access road. A Lamborghini Huracan. My stomach sank. Who the hell would drive that down a dirt path meant for tractors? And then she stepped out Veronica. Sunglasses, pushed-up phone glued to her ear. Face twisted in disgust like the air itself offended her. I told her calmly, "Ma'am, this is a private access road. I need to get my combine through in half an hour." She barely glanced at me before saying, "Oh, I highly doubt that. I'm not moving. My assistant is sending another car to pick me up. I won't risk a scratch on my property because of your little tractor." Little tractor. That stung. My combine is bigger than a damn house, and without it the entire crop would rot. I explained again, tried to keep my cool, but she laughed. "This is my car. I can park it wherever I want. And if you don't like it, I'll call the police. You want to see how far you get harassing the wife of a senator?" I gave her every chance, every warning, but she wouldn't budge, and the clouds were getting darker by the minute. So I made a choice. I fired up the combine, the engine roaring like thunder. The machine inched forward, its blades spinning its wheels, chewing the dirt. Veronica thought I was bluffing until the first shriek of metal filled the air. Her precious Lamborghini didn't stand a chance. In seconds, it went from shiny perfection to mangled wreckage shards of orange paint scattered like confetti across my road. Her scream could have cracked glass. "You monster! You destroyed it! My husband will ruin you!" she shrieked. I climbed down from the combine, looked her straight in the eye, and said, "I warned you. You chose this." Of course, she called the cops. Deputy Miller showed up 20 minutes later. She sobbed, accused me of being violent, demanded he arrest me. But Miller just pointed at the private property sign and asked, "Did he warn you?" She hesitated, stammered, then admitted, "I had." Miller shook his head. "This is civil, ma'am. He's within his rights. File it with your insurance." Watching her face crumble when the badge didn't back her up, that almost felt like justice. Almost. 2 weeks later, I got served. A lawsuit for $300,000, the price of her car. Suddenly, it wasn't just Veronica, it was her husband, her lawyers, the entire HOA gunning for me. That thick envelope nearly broke me. I don't have that kind of money. Hell, I don't have 10% of it. For nights I lay awake staring at the ceiling, wondering if I'd made the worst mistake of my life. Maybe I should have just let her block me, let the crop die, swallowed the loss quietly. I pictured my farm gone, my family's legacy sold off piece by piece. Maybe she was right. Maybe I was just a nobody in the middle of nowhere. But then my cousin Mike, a small-time lawyer, stepped up. He asked me to show him everything. That's when we remembered the combine had a safety camera. It recorded everything, the warnings, her defiance, the car left abandoned. Cold, silent proof. Mike smiled for the first time in days. "Elias, we've got them." In court, Veronica sat there dressed in black like she was at a funeral playing the victim. Her lawyer spun a story about me being some crazed farmer with a vendetta. Then it was Mike's turn. He kept it simple. And when he played the video on the big screen, the entire courtroom went dead silent. There she was, ignoring me, sneering, walking away. No aggression from me, no threats, just her arrogance caught in 1080p. Her face went pale. Her husband, sitting in the back, looked like he wanted to strangle her right there. That should have been the end. But power doesn't go quietly. Mark Jennings came after me harder. Smear campaigns, online, phone calls in the night, even my bank suddenly reviewing my loan. It was clear they wanted my farm. Not just the lawsuit, but everything. I remember one night sitting at the kitchen table, head in my hands, while Mike said, "They're not fighting in court anymore. They're trying to bleed you dry." I almost gave up. But then I thought about my father, my grandfather, every calloused hand that had worked this land before me. I couldn't let their legacy die at the hands of a politician's wife and her ego. So we fought back. Mike reached out to Sarah Vance, an investigative journalist with no love for crooked politics. We showed her the video, the emails, the threats. She looked at us and said, "This isn't about a car, this is about abuse of power." When her article went live, the story exploded. Senator's wife lies in court, plastered across every news feed. Hashtags trending. Donations pouring into my legal fund. For the first time, I wasn't alone. At the next hearing, their lawyer smirked and slid us a paper, a non-disclosure agreement. They'd drop everything if I promised silence. Mike looked at me. I looked back. Then I shoved it back across the table and said, "Tell the senator to go to hell." They didn't expect that. They thought fear would keep me quiet, but fear was gone. And when Sarah's outlet released a recording of their own lawyer admitting to the threats, it was game over. The senator's press conference was supposed to save face. Instead, a reporter stood up and said, "We have sworn testimony and recordings proving you threatened a private citizen. Care to comment?" His jaw locked, his face drained of color cameras flashing in his humiliation. That was the moment. Right there in front of the nation, their power shattered. Veronica lost her seat on the HOA board within a week. The lawsuit collapsed, tossed out with prejudice. And Senator Jennings. His career didn't survive the scandal. They thought they were untouchable. Turns out the truth can touch anyone. Power without accountability is nothing but arrogance, and arrogance always collapses.